Livinpink here for CyberActiv, and I am with Genna Bain, most commonly known in the community as Total Biscuit's wife, but she is much more, so let's get to know her a little bit. So how are you today, Genna?
I'm doing pretty well. This MLG has been very, very busy for me, trying to take on multiple roles, doing all the caster makeup, as well as, managing Crank for this specific event. And of course, my husband is also casting, so I'm very multifunctional, I guess you could say, for this MLG.
So how did that go with Crank? Better than expected, and well, I assume better than expected from your smile, but yeah, how did that go?
Well, Crank did an absolutely phenomenal job in the open bracket. I mean, we were just so floored that he managed to do so well. I mean, of course, when you come from Slayers, you expect a certain level of play, but he was just absolutely phenomenal every single game, never even dropping a map until he went up against Liquid Tasia, and even then it was, it's like right there. Dropped one map, but then again still managed to beat Tasia, went on, faced Tasia again for a second time, and still beat him yet again. So sponsoring Crank has been like one of the best experiences for us, and we are so proud of his results so far.
So did you guys notice him because of that Reddit post?
We did. I actually happened to just kind of be lounging around with my iPad, and I saw the thread on Reddit about Reddit trying to help him, and also our friendly neighborhood 4chan also throwing some attention his way. And I just kind of read the situation, read the news posts about him leaving Slayers, and I thought, this guy has some crazy good potential. I had watched Crank stream actually, because he streams a lot on Twitch, and he just has some interesting builds. Has some really amazing strategies, and I thought, what, this kid could do really well in the open bracket, and he tore it apart, made it into the championship losers bracket, and unfortunately got taken out by Heart. But again, very close games. Beat Revival. Right now we have Liquid Tasia and Revival going on right now, so beating both of those players shows the kind of level that he can play at, and we are just absolutely thrilled that Reddit, giving him that initial exposure, allowed us to kind of piggyback onto that and say, hey, can we bring you to this MLG?
Did you guys sponsor other players? I think you sponsor Bling.
We do. We currently sponsor Dignitas Bling. It's a single sponsorship, so we only sponsor him, not the rest of the team members, as fabulous as they are. So we do that on a month-to-month basis, so that way Bling can maintain his full-time pro player status, I guess, to where he can dedicate all of that time to playing. So this is nothing really completely new to us, but this is the first time that's just a single event type of sponsorship for us.
Do you plan on doing any more in the future?
We are currently talking to Crank about possibly coming to MLG Dallas in November, and I'm honestly expecting him to tell us, no, I've been picked up by another team, especially after the results that he's shown here at this MLG. But in the event that he doesn't have a sponsor, no team has picked him up, we will more than gladly bring him to MLG Dallas, and let's hope he can do it again.
Now let's learn a little bit more about you. Enough of Crank. He did an amazing job. You guys can check out the Crank interview if you want more content about him. So how did you get started in all this? Like, I know you've been in gaming for a while, and you used to have a podcast. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. Basically, I guess my start in gaming came from going to different conventions, stuff like QuakeCon. I used to play a lot of Quake. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike. Definitely not Source. No Source. But and some Go recently, but no, old school Counter-Strike for those of us who are old enough to remember. So I used to go to a lot of conventions. I used to watch a lot of eSports back when eSports was a baby, I suppose you could say. Kind of, just got into it from a spectator standpoint, started gaming podcasts, predominantly about World of Warcraft at the time. Did a lot of following esports, but never really got into esports until I married my husband 5 years ago, and then he started casting StarCraft 2. I was a Brood War player. Unfortunately, he was not. Not to my knowledge, anyway. If he did, it was a secret to me. But maybe that accounts for his lack of analytical knowledge. But no, this whole gaming thing has never really been so much of a thing. I've always been into games, so this is just kind of, you know, getting more involved on a professional level, I guess, with gaming.
And you've been managing your husband, right?
I've been managing my husband ever since he started doing professional casting, yes. Yeah, this is when we actually formed our company, Highbrow Studios. One of my goals, of course, and the CynicalBrit brand, was part of the goals were to try to help give back to the esports community, which I believe is very, very important. I don't think that we can really rely on big sponsors to fulfill every need, as you can see with the sponsorship of Crank. You know, this is just one person going out and saying, hey, I want to bring you to America. I want to show everyone what you can do. And I think we need more of that. I think, you know, even some of these teams that are out here doing a fantastic job, you know, perhaps, you know, them helping give back to the community as well, you know, helping additional people. Yeah, that just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, you know? It's great.
Random question, how did you guys come up with the name CynicalBrit?
Well, my husband was always known as Total Biscuit. He was also known as Total Halibut. You know, he had like 2 usernames, which is kind of uncommon. Usually most people just have one username and they kind of stick with it throughout. But he had 2, and neither of them really make a whole lot of sense. Like, one is a fish and one is a food. Well, I mean, both are food, I guess, but biscuit and halibut. What's going on? I don't understand. So I told him probably about 2 or 3 years ago, you need to come up with something, a brand that defines you. What are you? Who are you? He is cynical, and he is British. Mash the 2 together, and there you go. Branding, it happens.
That's very good. What's your username?
I go by Intricacy, so I'm a very intricate person, difficult to deal with.
And do you know why he's called Total Biscuit?
I do. It's actually part of a book that he once upon a time read and loved, and there was a phrase in it, and you know, it's just like Total Biscuit. Yeah, why not? I guess it's just one of those things, you know, when you read it, it's like so random. Yeah, Terry Pratchett, who thought?
Anyway, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to do?
Well, definitely to our sponsored player here for MLG Raleigh, Crank. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of this awesome, magical experience with us. And it's, you know, well done. We are so proud of you and your results. Yeah, definitely shout out to my husband, who, you know, I manage and try to take care of from time to time. And a big shout out to like basically all the casters. I've worked with basically every caster here doing makeup and, you know, sometimes massages, as Day 9 well knows. None of those wink wink massages, but, you know, massages nonetheless. Shoulders. Stuff that's visible. But yeah, thank you guys so much for, you know, letting me put my hands on you in unnatural ways.
Thank you very much for this interview. This last part was kind of funny. Anyway, I hope you have an amazing weekend and future events.
We will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.